Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You are not limited to one outcome, one future, or one identity. In the quantum world, particles do not exist in a single state. They exist in superposition, in multiple possibilities all at once, until an observation collapses them into reality. What if I told you that your life operates the same way? That within you lies a spectrum of infinite versions of yourself, and the one you live depends on what you repeatedly observe, what you focus on, and what you emotionally embody. Think about it. Every thought you think is a wave of energy. Every emotion you feel is a frequency. And every frequency tunes you into a version of yourself that already exists in the quantum field. When you dwell in fear, you collapse into a version of life where fear is in control. When you live in gratitude, you collapse into a version where opportunities, synchronicities, and alignment flow toward you effortlessly. The truth is, you are not just one person. You are many potential selves existing simultaneously. There is a self who continues living the same way, bound by the past, repeating the same cycles. And there is a self who is courageous, abundant, healthy, and radiant, waiting for you to align with it. Both exist right now. Which one materializes depends on the energy you embody in this very moment. The secret is not to chase the future, but to live as if the future you desire is already happening now. When you emotionally step into the feeling of success, before it shows up physically, you are collapsing the wave into matter. You are bringing the unseen into the seen. This is not just wishful thinking. This is the mechanics of creation itself. Superposition means you don't have to choose limitation. You can embody peace and power at the same time. You can hold abundance and gratitude simultaneously. You can walk with courage while still embracing humility. To be in superposition is to expand beyond the either or mindset of the old self and step in the both can reality of the quantum self. So how do we do this? First, become aware of the energy you are broadcasting. Every thought, every emotion is a signal. Are you sending out scarcity or abundance? Are you sending fear or love? Second, step into the elevated emotion of the future you want to experience. Don't wait for the success to come before you feel successful. Don't wait for the healing to come before you feel whole. Feel it now. And third, surrender the need to know how it happens. In the quantum, infinite outcomes exist, and the universe knows pathways far beyond the limits of your logic. When you align your energy, you open doors that the rational mind could never plan. You are a multidimensional being. The version of you that is thriving, radiant, and successful already exists in superposition. The only question is, will you tune your mind, your heart, and your energy to that reality? When you do, the invisible becomes visible. The wave collapses into matter, and success is no longer something you chase. It is something you are. So today, stop living as only one version of yourself. Step into superposition. Step into the infinite. And watch your life transform into the miracle it was always meant to be. Quantum truth of superposition. In the heart of quantum physics lies a principle so profound that it reshapes how we understand reality itself. Superposition. It tells us that particles, the tiniest building blocks of the universe, do not exist in one fixed state. Instead, they remain in multiple states, in multiple possibilities, all at the same time. Only when observed do they collapse into a single outcome, a single expression of reality. Now, pause for a moment and imagine how this applies to your own life. What if you are not just the person you believe yourself to be right now with your past experiences, habits, and labels? What if you, like those particles, exist in a field of multiple potentials? Within you, there is a version of yourself who is strong, abundant, and fearless. There is also a version who may remain stuck, limited, and repeating the past. Both exist simultaneously in the quantum field, and the version that comes alive in your life is determined by the one you choose to observe through your thoughts, emotions, and focus. This is the quantum truth of success. You are not limited to one reality. You are not bound by the story of your past, nor by the circumstances you currently face. Just as a particle has the potential to be here or there, you have the potential to live in struggle or in freedom, in scarcity or in abundance, in doubt or in unwavering faith. The choice is not made by the external world. The choice is made by the observer, and you are the observer. Consider this: every thought you think sends out a signal. Every emotion you feel broadcasts a frequency. These signals interact with the field of infinite possibilities around you, and in response, the field mirrors back the reality that matches your vibration. If you wake up every morning focusing on problems, rehearsing past failures, or expecting things to go wrong, you are essentially observing, and therefore collapsing into, the version of life where those patterns continue. But if you wake up and step into gratitude, vision, and elevated emotions, you begin to tune into a completely different version of yourself. You are choosing a new state to embody, and by doing so, you collapse into a new outcome. Superposition reminds us that success is not somewhere far away in the future. It already exists, here and now, as one of the many states within your field of possibilities. The question is not, will I ever become successful? The real question is, which version of me will I choose to observe today? When you embrace this truth, limitation falls away. You no longer need to wait for external proof before believing in your potential. You can embody the energy of your desired future right now, and by doing so, you summon that future into the present. This is where spirituality and quantum physics beautifully align. Spiritual wisdom has always told us that we are creators, that we are more than our physical selves, and that we hold within us infinite potential. Quantum science now echoes the same truth. You exist in superposition. You are many versions of yourself all at once. And the universe responds to the version you most consistently observe with your heart, mind, and energy. So, the next time you doubt yourself, remember you are not fixed. You are fluid. You are multidimensional. At this very moment, the version of you that is radiant, powerful, and successful already exists. To step into it, you must align your thoughts, emotions, and intentions with that reality. When you live as if it's already true, you collapse the wave of infinite possibility into the solid matter of your life. That is the quantum truth of superposition, and it is the foundation of creating success from within. Your energy is the observer in the quantum world. The role of the observer is not passive. It is not just watching, it is shaping. A particle can exist in countless possibilities until it is observed, and then, in an instant, it collapses into one specific reality. This truth holds a powerful message for us, the observer of your life. Every single thought you think is more than just a private conversation in your head. It is a wave, a vibration, a signal radiating into the quantum field. Every emotion you feel is not just chemistry in your body, it is frequency in motion broadcasting into the fabric of reality itself. Together, your thoughts and emotions form your energy, and this energy becomes the observation that collapses infinite possibilities into the one experience you live. Think of it like tuning a radio. The air is filled with thousands of frequencies, but the one you hear is the one you tune into. Life works the same way. You are surrounded by infinite outcomes, infinite selves, infinite futures. But the one you live depends on the frequency you're broadcasting. If you're constantly thinking about what's missing, what's wrong, or what could go wrong, your energy is tuned to lack. You will collapse into realities that confirm scarcity. On the other hand, if you hold thoughts of gratitude, abundance, and possibility, you're broadcasting a very different frequency, one that tunes you into the reality where those experiences exist. This is why your inner world matters more than your outer circumstances. So many people live as if life is happening to them, as if they are victims of chance or fate. But the truth is, life is responding to them. The field mirrors back what they most consistently observe within themselves. If your mind is always rehearsing the past, you collapse into more of the past. If your heart is alive with the feeling of a future already achieved, you collapse into that very future. Now, this is where most people get caught. They wait for external change before they change their energy. They say, when I get the promotion, then I'll feel abundant. When I meet the right person, then I'll feel love. When I heal, then I'll feel whole. But in doing so, they are giving their power to the external world. They are waiting for proof before believing. Yet in the quantum model, the opposite is true. It is the belief, the energy that creates the proof. It is the inner alignment that brings the outer evidence. So the invitation is this: stop waiting. Become the observer who chooses deliberately. If you want abundance, begin by embodying the energy of abundance now. If you want success, feel the confidence, gratitude, and joy of success today, before it physically arrives. When you do, you are broadcasting a signal into the field, and the field must respond with experiences that match it. Your energy is a magnet. It cannot attract what it is not already vibrating with. To live in superposition is to know that all versions of you exist, but the one you experience is determined by your observation. And observation is not just what you see with your eyes. It is what you think with your mind, what you feel with your heart, and what you embody with your energy. So today, ask yourself, what signal am I broadcasting? What reality am I observing with my energy? Because the answer to that question is the answer to your future. When you take responsibility for your vibration, you take responsibility for the reality you collapse into being. You are not a passive observer, you are a creative observer, and your energy, not your circumstances, decides the outcome. Infinite selves within you. At this very moment, there are many versions of you that already exist. This is not a metaphor. It is a truth rooted in both quantum physics and spiritual wisdom. In the field of infinite potential, you are not fixed to one identity, one outcome, or one destiny. Instead, you are fluid, existing as countless possible selves, each waiting for you to step into alignment with it. Think of it like a library filled with books. Each book tells the story of a different version of your life. One book is about the self who stayed in fear and never took risks. Another is about the self who awakened, took bold steps, and lived with passion. Another book might be about the self who healed, loved deeply, and created abundance. All of these books already exist on the shelves of possibility. But which book becomes your story depends on which one you open. And the way you open it is through your focus, your thoughts, and your emotions. Too often, people assume they are stuck with only one book, the story of their past. They say, "This is who I am. This is how I've always been. These are my limits." But in doing so, they keep reading the same chapter over and over. They live the same life on repeat because they cannot imagine another version of themselves. The truth is, you are not bound to that single storyline. You are a multidimensional being. The self you long to become already exists in superposition. The only question is, will you choose to step into that self? Here is the beauty of it. You don't have to wait for external change to shift into a different self. Transformation begins internally. When you change your energy, the way you think, feel, and act, you shift your alignment to a different version of yourself. Imagine for a moment the self who is already successful, healthy, and radiant. How does that version of you walk? How do they think? What emotions do they feel daily? If you begin to embody those qualities now, you step into that self. You are no longer waiting for change. You are becoming the change. But there is also the shadow side. The self who clings to fear, doubt, or resentment also exists. Every time you dwell in those emotions, you step into alignment with that version. And once you inhabit that state, life mirrors back the circumstances that match it. This is not punishment. It is simply the mechanics of creation. The field reflects the self you are choosing to embody. The empowering truth is that choice is available to you in every moment. You are not locked into yesterday's identity. You can wake up today and decide to shift. You can decide to close the book of limitation and open the book of possibility. Each thought, each feeling, each intention moves you closer to oneself and further from another. So who will you choose to be today? The self who is bound by the past or the self who creates the future? The self who shrinks in fear or the self who rises in love? Both exist. Both are real. But only one will become the reality you live. And the choice is made by your energy, your focus, and your willingness to embody a higher state. When you realize that infinite selves exist within you, you stop asking, can I change? Instead, you begin asking, which self will I step into now? And that question unlocks the power to transform your life. Living the future now, one of the greatest misunderstandings about success healing or transformation is the belief that it exists only in the future. We're taught to think, one day, when I achieve my goals, then I'll feel happy. When I get the relationship, then I'll feel loved. When I earn the money, then I'll feel abundant. But the quantum truth reveals something far more powerful. You don't wait for the future to feel it. You feel it now, and by doing so, you bring that future into being. In the quantum field, time does not exist as a straight line the way we perceive it. All possibilities, past, present, future, coexist in the eternal now. That means the version of you who is already successful, already healed, already abundant, already thriving, exists right here, right now. The way to access that version is not by waiting for the future to unfold, but by embodying the state of being as if it has already happened. This is why living the future now is so transformative. When you emotionally step into the feeling of your desired future before it shows up physically, you collapse the wave of probability into reality. You become the magnet that draws the circumstances, people, and opportunities that match that state. It's not magic. It's alignment. Think of it this way. If you want to tune into a song on the radio, you don't wait for it to play randomly. You set the dial to the exact frequency of that station, and then the song comes through. Your desired future works the same way. If you want to live in abundance, you must tune into the frequency of abundance now by feeling gratitude, by seeing yourself already supported, by living with the mindset of, I already am. If you want success, you must tune into the frequency of success now by walking with confidence, thinking with clarity, and feeling joy as if it's already done. The biggest trap is waiting for the external world to give you permission to feel. But waiting keeps you stuck. If you say, I'll feel abundant when the money comes, you're reinforcing the vibration of lack, which only attracts more lack. If you say, I'll feel worthy when someone loves me, you're reinforcing unworthiness, which attracts situations that reflect it. The external world cannot change until your internal state changes first. Living the future now is about reversing the model. Instead of cause and effect, where the world causes your feelings, you live in cause and create, where your feelings cause the world to shift. You wake up each day and decide, I will embody the joy, gratitude, and fulfillment of my future now. When you do this consistently, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your energy. And here's the beautiful part. When you live the future now, you no longer feel separate from it. You no longer live in longing, hoping, or waiting. You live in oneness with the very reality you desire. The separation dissolves, and what once felt far away begins to show up in unexpected ways, synchronicities, opportunities, and breakthroughs. So ask yourself, what is the future I long for? Who is the version of me that already lives it? And how can I embody their energy right now? If that version of you feels gratitude, practice gratitude today. If they walk with confidence today. If they live in love, radiate love today. Because when you embody the state of the future in the present moment, you are no longer waiting. You are creating. You are collapsing the unseen into the seen. And success, love, abundance, and healing become not something you chase, but something you are. That is the art of living the future now. Superposition of emotions and states. We often think of life in terms of either I am confident or I am humble. Either I am spiritual or I am successful. Either I feel peace or I feel power. But in the quantum field, this limitation does not exist, just as particles exist in multiple states simultaneously. So can you. This is the beauty of superposition of emotions and states, the realization that you can hold higher dimensions of being all at once. And by doing so, you expand far beyond the limits of ordinary human thinking. Imagine for a moment the version of you who embodies abundance. Now imagine that same version also embodying gratitude. You don't have to choose one over the other. You can radiate both simultaneously. When you do, the frequency you broadcast is far more powerful than either emotion alone. Gratitude opens the heart, abundance strengthens your magnetism, and together they create a resonance that pulls new realities into your life. This principle applies to all elevated emotions. Courage does not cancel out humility. Joy does not cancel out discipline. Love does not cancel out strength. In fact, when you embrace both, you access a deeper wholeness. You stop living in polarity and begin living in integration. You become a fuller, richer expression of your infinite self. Why is this so important? Because most people live fragmented lives. They believe they can only be one thing at a time. They limit themselves to narrow definitions. I can either be successful or spiritual, but not both. I can either focus on abundance or simplicity, but not both. These limitations are illusions of the old self. The quantum self knows no such boundary. Superposition of emotions is not about forcing yourself into extremes, but about expanding your capacity to hold multiple elevated states. Think of it like light. White light is not one color, it is all colors combined. When you pass it through a prism, you see the spectrum. You too are a prism of consciousness. The more emotions of higher frequency you embody, the more radiant and complete your light becomes. Now, let's make this practical. If you are working toward a goal, don't just hold the energy of determination. Balance it with joy. If you are seeking abundance, don't just feel abundance. Add gratitude, so your abundance is rooted in appreciation. If you are stepping into leadership, don't just embody confidence. Add compassion, so your confidence is aligned with love. This is how you build a multidimensional presence, one that is magnetic, inspiring, and deeply aligned with the quantum field. And here is the secret: the more emotions you combine, the more impossible it becomes for your old limitations to survive. Scarcity cannot exist in the same space as true gratitude and abundance. Fear cannot dominate when courage and love are present together. By living in superposition, you dissolve the lower vibrations naturally, without resistance. This is why meditation, visualization, and daily alignment are so powerful. They train you to step beyond either or thinking and embody both and realities. You begin to live not as a fragmented self, but as a unified field of possibilities. In that unity, your frequency expands, and with it, the scope of the reality you collapse into being. So today, ask yourself, what emotions can I combine to expand my state? Can I feel joy and discipline at the same time? Can I radiate love while standing in power? Can I embody abundance while living in humility? The answer is always yes, if you allow yourself to rise above polarity and step into superposition. When you live in this way, your presence becomes magnetic. Your life stops being ordinary and becomes extraordinary. Because in superposition, you are not limited to one state of being. You are the integration of many. And in that integration, you discover the wholeness of who you truly are. Practical steps to align. It's one thing to understand the quantum principles of superposition, infinite selves, and living the future now, but it's another to live them every single day. Knowledge without application changes nothing. Transformation comes when wisdom is embodied, when it becomes your daily practice. That's why alignment is the key. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in harmony, you broadcast a coherent signal into the field, and the field responds with coherence. So how do you practically align with the version of yourself that already exists in success, abundance, and wholeness? Let's break it down into 3 simple but powerful steps: awareness, emotion, and surrender. Step 1, awareness. The first step is becoming aware of the signal you are broadcasting. Most people move through life unconsciously, repeating the same thoughts as yesterday, rehearsing the same emotions, and reinforcing the same personality. This autopilot keeps them locked into the same reality. Awareness is about stepping back and noticing, what am I thinking right now? What am I feeling right now? What energy am I sending into the field? When you catch yourself dwelling in lack, fear, or resentment, don't judge it, just observe it. Awareness alone begins to break the spell of unconscious living. It gives you the space to choose again. In that space, you can redirect your focus toward the self you want to embody instead of the self you've been repeating. Step 20. Emotion first. Once you are aware, the next step is to generate the emotions of your desired future in the present moment. This is the heart of creation. If you want success, don't wait for the success to arrive. Feel the joy, confidence, and gratitude of it now. If you want healing, don't wait for the body to change. Feel wholeness and vitality now. If you want abundance, don't wait for the bank account to grow. Feel abundance now. The key here is embodiment. You must rehearse the feeling of the future so vividly that your body believes it's already true. The brain does not know the difference between an actual experience and an intensely imagined one. When you fire and wire those neural pathways repeatedly, you install the future into your nervous system. You literally become the version of yourself who already lives it. Step 3V. Surrender. This is where many people struggle, because the mind wants to control how things unfold. It wants to know the pathway, the timeline, the step-by-step plan. But in the quantum, the how is not your job. Infinite outcomes exist, and the universe has access to connections, synchronicities, and doorways that your rational mind could never predict. Surrender means trusting that when your energy is aligned, the field will orchestrate the outcomes in the perfect way at the perfect time. It means releasing the need to push, force, or control, and instead stepping into faith. This is not passive, it is powerful. Because when you let go, you create space for the higher intelligence of the universe to move through you. Now, imagine living with these 3 steps daily. You wake up each morning and bring awareness to your thoughts and emotions. You choose elevated feelings before the day begins, embodying the energy of your desired future. And then you surrender the details, trusting the field to bring opportunities beyond your imagination. When you do this consistently, your life transforms. You stop chasing success and start aligning with it. You stop waiting for change and start becoming change. You live as a coherent observer, collapsing the wave into the reality you choose. Alignment is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. But with every moment of awareness, every elevated emotion, and every act of surrender, you step closer to the highest version of yourself. And soon, what once felt like a dream becomes your living reality. Final reminder, as we come to the end of this journey, I want you to pause and truly feel the depth of what we've uncovered. You are not a single, fixed version of yourself. You are not bound by the past. You are not imprisoned by circumstances. You are not defined by what has happened to you or what has not yet happened. At this very moment, you are a multidimensional being, existing in superposition with infinite versions of yourself already alive in the quantum field. The question is never, can I change? The question is, which self will I choose to step into? Because both realities are available. The version of you who repeats the past exists, and the version of you who rises into abundance, wholeness, and greatness also exists. Both are real. Both are present. Both are waiting. The difference lies in your observation, in the energy you embody, the thoughts you focus on, and the emotions you rehearse. This is why success is not something you chase. It is something you choose. Every day, with every thought and every feeling, you are either aligning with the old self or stepping into the new self. You are either collapsing the wave into limitation or collapsing it into freedom. The power does not lie outside of you. It lies within you. Remember this, the future is not some distant point you are running toward. The future already exists in the now. The version of you who is abundant, joyful, radiant, and successful is already alive in the field of infinite potential. When you choose to embody that self now, when you feel their gratitude, their confidence, their peace, you merge with them, you collapse the wave into that reality, and life begins to mirror back exactly who you are being. But this requires courage. Courage to let go of the old identity. Courage to stop rehearsing the past. Courage to stop waiting for permission from the external world. And above all, courage to believe in yourself as more than flesh and bone, as energy, as consciousness, as possibility. You were not born to live small. You were not born to repeat cycles of fear and doubt. You were born to expand, to create, to embody the wholeness of your infinite self. You are the observer. You are the creator. You are the one who decides which version of you becomes matter, which version of you becomes your lived reality. So here is the invitation. Wake up each day and choose. Choose awareness. Choose elevated emotions. Choose gratitude, love, abundance, courage, humility, and live them now. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for external permission. Step into the state of your desired future and let the universe respond to your coherence. Because when you do, miracles become normal, synchronicities appear, opportunities align, people show up. Life rearranges itself around the energy you broadcast. This is not chance. This is not luck. This is the natural law of creation. So today, let this truth echo within you. You are already whole. You are already abundant. You are already successful. The field is waiting for you to claim it. Stop living as only one limited version of yourself. Step into superposition. Step into the infinite. Step into the highest version of you, and let the world witness the miracle of your transformation. This is your final reminder. You are more powerful than you've ever imagined. You are not one state of being. You are many. You are not one possibility. You are infinite. And the moment you choose to align with the future you desire, that future chooses you back. So go ahead, be in superposition. Live in multiple states of greatness at once. And let your life become the proof of the extraordinary being you truly are.